Good afternoon. I'm Bradley McAllister, founder of Spiracraft, and this is Spiracraft Live on the craziest, most frustrating Thursday I've had in a long time. But I'm happy to be out here now because life in the office has not been fun. Looking forward to playing with these faceplate rings a little bit. I have never messed with them. Completely unprepared because I literally just ran out the door. I've been in customer service hell with 2 different platforms that are integrated that don't work. And each one told me that I needed to talk to the other one since 10 o'clock last night. And then I was in there for almost 5 hours today trying to get it settled. And they told me it should be fixed in 2 days. It's been that kind of morning. So now we're going to play with some faceplate rings. I hope you guys are doing well. It's good to see you, Michael. And I know I saw Joe up there and Sue. So that's the story of my day. So I'm going to put on my best smile and we're going to have a little fun. Just kind of looking at these faceplate rings. I have both Sorby and, Sorby. I don't even know if they have them or not. Easy Wood Tools and Nova. You should think I would be able to look down and see. I got a small one and I think a larger one. I've had these around for a while. This one, actually, that's a lie. This is one that just was returned from a customer in its original packaging, so that it could be resold again because they said it didn't fit. So we're going to kind of find out about that fit thing. And it looks like we need to adjust. Let's adjust that focus just a little bit. Let's get that right up about maybe a little higher. Somewhere in there. You can tell I am completely unprepared today. But we will make it work. You watch. We'll get that up there in the air. And I'm still missing. I lost a mouse on the road. So I have to run into the control room here. Let's see if we can't adjust that just a little bit. So where that's in focus. I can't complain. It's raining now here, which we needed the rain desperately. It doesn't make it convenient, of course, for a lot of things, but we need the rain. All right, that looks better. I'll double check it on the big screen. So while I'm fussing around here, those of you who are in the audience already today, is there anybody here who uses faceplate rings already and has any input they'd like to put into the chat column about the use of faceplate rings? That would be great to hear from you. Yep, and then pop back up here. Oh, so one more thing, now that that's in focus. Of course, I didn't have time. I have finally, thank you, Nova. I have the Nova Nebula badging to go on the front of the headstock here. So next week, will I be here next week? Yeah, I'll be here next week. Next week, the badging will be on here, so you'll know it's a Nebula. Thanks, Rich, for getting that together. He's not in here yet, but he'll get the message. He's actually, I think, at a motorcycle rally. Anyway, what a mess in here. I haven't been in here in a couple of weeks. Had a great AAW. I know I talk too much to those who think I talk too much. Use the fast forward little arrow on your screen there. That works pretty good. Was at AAW for the first weekend in June for the whatever annual 25th, 30th, 50th, I don't know. We had a great time. Michael McEwen, who's in here, was with me. He was my helper, my number one helper. He's awesome. If you ever need a booth assistant, Michael's the guy. You just can't have him when I need him. We had typical attendance, I would say, for AAW. Ballpark, without asking anybody, the 1,000 number of people, give or take. From Spiracraft standpoint, it was actually better than the year before. Nothing to get excited about, but then again, it's kind of a social event in a lot of ways. Anyway, next year it's in Portland. We won't be taking the big Spiracraft format to Portland if we go, though I am thinking up some ways to go in a very small presence, like think of it as a carry-on booth. If I can scale some things down, I want to do. I got an idea. I got a year. We being Spiracraft show up in Portland. You never know. We are getting ready for a variety of things. I got about 2 months home other than this weekend. A special story there. So I'm here the rest of June, all of July, and the bulk of August. And then Spiracraft goes to SWAT in Waco, Texas, the last weekend of August. And then we run on up to Denver. And 2 weeks from SWAT, we do the Rocky Mountain Symposium in Denver. And then we hightail it across the country. I just looked this morning, it's 1,600 miles. Denver to Lancaster, PA for the Mid-Atlantic Wood Turning Symposium. So the following weekend, and this is all on the Spiracraft site under events. I got that much done recently. And then after that, we are going to the North Carolina Wood Turning Symposium in early November. So we've got 4 symposium events lined up starting in August, so we're going to be busy. But in the meantime, we'll be here for the next couple of months working on the website in the office and doing Spiracraft Live. All right, so that's kind of a rundown of what's been going on, where I'm going, and what I've been doing. I said AAW was great fun. Again, couldn't do it without the help of Michael. And Jeff Peters was there, although Jeff disappeared into the classes. We never saw him after he helped set up on Thursday. Great help. And then on Friday and Saturday and Sunday, he came by once in a great while. He was loving taking all the classes and the seminars and rotations, et cetera, at AAW. So thank you to both of those gentlemen again for helping Spiracraft out so much. All right, so let's get into faceplates. Faceplate and faceplate rings. Now, obviously, a faceplate ring, and a lot of this is going to be in the overhead so that it's easier for you to see. And that's the end camera, so as soon as we figure out what we're doing today. This is a 3-inch Easy Wood Tools ring. And unlike a traditional faceplate, it doesn't have any stem and any threads. It goes actually in the jaws. This recess goes in a set of jaws to hold it there. Hey, my dad's here. I see you after a while, Dad. I'm going up to my folks and taking them to North Carolina this weekend. So as soon as I finish here, I'm out the door. So anyway, instead of having the typical threaded barrel, these faceplate rings go onto a jaw chuck. And so this is the smallest one that Easy Wood makes. This is the 3-inch, and they have like 3, 4.5, and 6. Okay, and so we're going to play with that one. I've never actually worked with these. I don't know what kind of screws they have. I'm kind of curious. So I'm going to put these screws, and they're going to get a lecture from me for those. I'll put those screws over there on the table. You didn't see where. And let me open up. I saw the knife. The bigger one, and I'm not sure which was the 100 millimeter, and I lost track of the knife. It's under the phone, that's why. This is the Nova brand. I'm certain that Axminster and a variety of the others all make faceplate rings. So this is a much larger one from Nova. They call it the 100 millimeter, but I'm gonna guess we're just gonna leave that in the middle for fun. We're gonna call this inside hole 3 inches. Okay, so that takes, and this is something that I personally, this is why it's good. It's why I kind of chose to do this today, aside from the crisis on the office world. People have had some issues with these fitting their particular jaws, and I need to find out more about how these work and why they do or don't fit your jaws. So that's why I thought we'd go ahead and play with this today. Also, it's a pretty low setup kind of issue. Actually, I'm going to leave this jar up here. This is kind of good. So for the Easy Wood, here's the Easy Wood ring. And the dimensions, when you read them on the packaging, are a little oddball. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the Easy Chuck out, wherever I've hidden it. And from what I see, it takes the smallest jaws to work. Now all I have to do is spy my Easy Chuck. I got 2 Supernovas, Patriot. That must mean that it's connected to something. How about that? And the whole time I thought we were in the overhead. Well, anyway, here's my Easy Chuck, and now I just need to get it popped off of there, and we'll get things changed around. Like I said, it's one of those kind of days. Hey, my phone's blowing up. Good luck. Actually, I'll take that one. Those of you who shop at Spiracraft already, you know you get an SMS notification when you purchase and when anything ships. Well, I get one right there on my Dick Tracy watch when a purchase happens over in the store. So that's always good to know. So that was the Easy Wood Big Easy Jaws that we just took off of there. And we're going to pop the 1 3/8. Let me go to overhead now. We're going to pop the 1 3/8 jaws into the chuck. Someday I'll clean this chuck. I'm real bad, and I don't know. Y'all from Easy Wood, if you're here or when you see this, you can yell at me next time you see me. I usually just run this thing till it's so gummed up, and then I send it back to Easy Wood for a cleaning, because they're so nice and so good. And I think we've got a couple other quick adjustments. Let's go ahead and move this over the headstock into the middle of the field of view. All these things I was going to do a little while ago, but you know how that goes. Okay, and also let's check this end view. And we need to fix that now that we moved the tailstock. So we will go fix that if we don't trip over a hose. Let's pop it back up to that view for a moment. Right there. And let's go fix this one. Hard to believe that I tripped over something in here, isn't it? There we go. That looks a lot better. All right. It's just an air hose I tripped over. No big deal. So the jaws obviously are way open right now. So we're going to run them all the way in. And it may be they're 1/2 inches. I'm curious to see how this works. That sure doesn't look like it's going in that hole, does it? It's not. It'll go that way. Okay. That might be what people are trying to do. So it's obvious, once you look at it at all, that the first thought I had was that it went in from the backside. But now that I look at it, I don't know what I was thinking. The holes are recessed here for the screws, so it would go in reverse. That goes onto your jaw, like so, and I will show you that. Let me, let's do this. We'll put both of them up there. Goes onto your jaw, you expand your jaw out, and you have the connection. Let me flip this over. Now, one thing I've asked this particular customer, I didn't get a reply. If you happen to get some of these rings from us and they don't fit your jaw, please let me know what jaws you have, because maybe you've got something and that doesn't fit with the Easy Wood rings, but the Nova, I almost said Sorby again, the Nova rings might do the job for you, and we can just swap things out. So if you ever do have a question or they don't fit and you need to send them back, which is fine, let me know what they didn't fit so that I have future reference for folks. Okay? All right, so let me pop you back over here. And it's real simple. And what we would have done, or will do, and we'll stick something on here, is, you know, we would screw this to the blank. So I got to find a blank real quick. Now, if I wanted to use the big 3-inch jaws here from Nova, I'm curious to see what happens if I put the 3.5-inch Easy Wood jaws on there, if they will work, depending on how they call it. Sometimes some manufacturers call the inside and some call the outside. So let's see what happens, because at the end of the day, as they say, the whole idea of using the ring, and I should have gone to this earlier, whole idea of using the ring is so you don't have to change chucks, right? And if you have to change jaws, I was thinking about this overnight. If you have to change jaws, it takes just about as much time as it takes to take the chuck off if you've got a set screw and all that. So, you know, we're looking for the most effective way to utilize these. Do you have a chuck with the right set of jaws for each ring that you might want to use? That's a lot of money tied up. Different things like that I've been thinking about. So let me get the big jaws here. I'll just slide over here. You can see me over to the toolbox. And I will grab the standards. Like I said, I'm just curious. I could measure and all that, but it's much more fun just to actually try it. And I got a feeling they're not going to. But we'll see. And this is a set of Easy Wood jaws that I definitely need to clean up. They were stuck to a piece of wet wood for a long time. Nope. So that's 3.5, doesn't work. End of story. Let's go ahead and see, where is my, if my Titan chuck is in here or not. There it is. And that's got the big jaws on it, so that won't work either. So let's go ahead and set up the small Easy Wood, and I'll find a little project here that we can play with. We can get this out of the way. We got lots of things around. Does anybody have any kind of questions about what I'm messing with here, the rings, or say the AAW event that I went to, or SWAT event that I'm getting ready to go to in a couple of months? While I'm changing stuff around, pop it in the chat column there, and I would be happy to answer it for you. Now, one thing, looking right off at the Easy Wood package, and I'm going to send them a note because they love hearing from me. Their screws are regular Phillips head. It looks like, and we're going to pull these out right now. Looks like a regular Phillips head screw, a number 8 at that. Looks like these are number 8 regular Phillips drive, right? So we need a better screw for this job. We prefer a number 10. We prefer a square drive or something other than a regular Phillips. So that needs to be changed up. So I will grab the screws that I normally use, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Assuming I can, of course, find my driver today for these. This is a number 10 screw, and it has a square / Phillips drive in it. I know it's a little out of focus because I'm holding it up, but it's small. Yeah, the Nova 100 should fit the Nova 100 jaws. That would make sense, Mike. And if I was to reach over here or walk around, I think I got to sit right here on a chuck. And we'll check. But we need to get the folks over at Easy Wood, I hope it's not going to be a big issue, get them to upgrade the screws that they provide. Don't get mad at me, guys. It's just a fact. So Mr. Michael is indeed correct. There is a Supernova with the 100mm jaws, And I'm just going to hold it in my hand. I don't have anything that big. And there's your completed unit for your Nova chuck. Okay? I'm going to reach my head over there. You can see my new haircut. Let's find something that we can... Hey, here's the perfect candidate. If you remember a little while back, we were using the bull core. So let's throw, and this is a perfect piece of wood for a project like this, because it needs work on the bottom, needs a tenon, it's got a hole in it, but we've got a tenon here. You can see the tenon there. So let's work with this. There. We'll just kind of settle that guy in. We will eyeball the middle just for the sake of it. Now we're going to go ahead and use Easywood's screws here just to see how they run. And it looks like that could be moved over just a tick. Let me just turn off that overlay for a minute. That'll make it easier. All right, so that Phillips drive is much too large. So there's a number of issues there with that. Hang on just a sec. We have more goodies in the drawer. We are sure. Well, that's about the small. It must be a number 1. Let's see. 2s and 2s. We're definitely going to have a talk with Easywood about their driver bit. Their screws. So just so you know, that's a number 2 driver. It takes a number 1 driver for these. Which I don't think I happen to have a number 1. Who uses a number 1 driver, right? Digging, digging, digging. So I think what we'll do in this particular case is I will switch over and use, these are the Spax screws, and we'll just use them with a Phillips, which is not optimum. So Easywood, we need to get them to change their screws. This will be out around, but that's okay. We haven't turned anything in a while. We need the practice, right? Oh, that's the Easywood screw. You go down to the home store, you get these Spax screws. They come with the square drive. But even they wear out, even with a square drive, so don't use them forever. But the whole beauty of this concept is, again, we're not having to take the chuck off the lathe. Especially if you're one who uses a set screw and doesn't change chucks a lot, then these rings really are for you. So that just pops in there. And I'll put you up here and I'll show you again. Just it's tight. It's screwed to the piece. Your jaws are almost all the way in. You expand them out. Looks like you get about 1/8 of an inch, 3/16. And then there's your piece. And let's put some power over here. Can't wait to get my stickers on there. It has to sing its little song. Thanking you for letting me know the braking is on. Set to 500. It's in reverse, but that's all right. I just want to see. Okay. So that's the plan. It would help if I tighten the chuck up. That's why we start out at a low speed. So you can see it's a little out of round. And just for fun to be here today, we'll put a tendon on it, do a little turn on this bowl. But again, it's about the face plates. And so this is mounted now on a faceplate ring, I should say. And I'm going to pull this one up here just to go over it again, because after this we're going bowl turning. This is the basic premise. This is just like a faceplate, except that instead of having a threaded shaft coming out the back, we're going into our jaws of our chuck. That's all there is to it. Again, the focus is out because it's a little high. And it's real simple. So you can have a ring on a bunch of different projects, and then you just slap them on whenever you need to. You thought the chuck spun. That wasn't tight yet. It had a chance to start spinning. So super convenient, all right? And I think you could play with, there's a lot of different chucks all these would work with, all these different jaws. We're going to make sure that that is indeed plenty tight, because we're going to turn the speed up on this thing. And that's plenty tight. And I'm going to pop in the end shot, which I think I'm going to switch for you here. I think we'll do that. And I'm going to run into the control room again. Now that I've put this bowl on, I'll make a couple of adjustments. And then we'll just kind of play with this bowl. And then I'm going to clean up, and I'm going to North Georgia to my folks' house, and then I'm taking them to North Carolina over the weekend for a little road trip. My mom had asked, could we go up to North Carolina sometime? And I said, absolutely. So I'm leaving that up. You're seeing it actually move around, which is unprofessional to do. But I don't think y'all will kill me because I'm just trying to get her where you can see it. But no, looking forward to taking my dad. So Joe says, I have not used a ring for project yet, but have a few accessories made, sanding discs and such. Yeah, I'm going to play with it more too, Joe, myself, just to kind of see, what's good with it, what's bad with it. As I said, and I'm not trying to come down on easy wood at all, but we now know for sure that the screws are nothing to get excited about. And I think I'm going to take you part way. You'll get to see my flip-flops. I'm casual today. And I'm going to bring this in on this piece. We don't need to see the whole thing. Yep. All right, then I'll go slide that in the head over there. Slide the headstock. All right, we got to get it to focus on the wood, though. All right, real quick. After AAW, I'm missing the chip from my keyboard to be able to do all this from out there. Did it stay or did it not stay? This will make it stay. If I can get it to stay up there. Hey. Here you go. There's always a way. You'll see what that look. You'll see what I'm talking about. Okay. Let me lock that focus now. Sorry for all the extra fooling around here. When you can't get a piece to stay, just make it stay, right? Okey smoky. Hello, Yak. Thank you for joining us today. We were having a little fun with faceplate rings. We have mounted one to this small piece. We've used the 3-inch EasyWood Tools faceplate ring on the Easy Chuck, and we've got her mounted up. All right. So like I said, we knew that this is going to be out of round. That was part of the deal. And you can't see much in that overlay, so I think we'll just turn that. Well, you might see. We'll watch and see what happens here. This thing is a mess. It's out of round, but not bad, right? In a minute, we'll bring the tailstock up. But first, I just want to get that button off of the end there. And we're going to play with traditional Carter & Son tools here today for this, just for fun. Popped her up to 750 there. And I just want to bump this little end off of here. Let's jump up to 1020. All right. That way we should be able to clean this up, get it back to true pretty good. All right, we'll stop for a second while I adjust, and I'm actually going to change tool rests here real quick. He says, looking for another tool rest, handy. I'll take just about any tool rest. As you can see, we have a feature in this. This feature is a hole that goes up to my third knuckle on my little finger, which means it's going to show up on the inside. And I love bowls with holes in them, because then we get to do fun, creative things to them. So I think I will clean this up with a 5/8 Carter & Son bowl gouge. I'm going to leave this tailstock. I may not even use it at all, unless I have to take it off. Actually, I do have to take it off. I got too much stuff in here, though. If I do this right, if I move the air hose, and let that just sit there, I think I can do this. All right. Now we're ready to go. Enough screwing around, right? And I'm going to dial that speed up a little bit more even. It looks like that overhead, well, you can just barely see the edge of the profile, right? And all I'm doing here is just getting it back to round. Okay, and we need to make a tenon on it. So let's flatten this guy off. Now I know that I've got the 1 3/8 jaws in the chuck already. So that's what I should set up my tenon for. Why make a tenon that's a different size than your whole setup that you're running? So the beauty of this again would be that you would, I'm just going to set this up real quick. The beauty is that you run the same stuff with the least amount of change having to happen. Makes it much more efficient. Okay, I used to turn bottle stoppers for markets. I'd make it 100 at a time, and I'd do each step 100 times. Then I'd do the next step, and the next step. So I'm going to make this about 1 5/8 because I'm setting a set of calipers here. This pop is poplar, and I know it's super soft. So I just kind of like to get an idea where I need to go. I can even use those to make my scratch. I've still got this tool here. That's too big. That probably is too. Yeah. There we go. So you can use whatever tool you feel like. That's about right for that tenon. I mean, this is a 1/2-inch bowl gouge, and I'm just still roughing the piece down, so there's no need to change tools. Okay, now I'm going to switch to a small tool. I have a little 3/8 Carter & Son with the wings ground way back. Okay, and this is how I've made tenons for a long time, especially before the advent of the carbide tools. You know, if you've seen this, if you've been around, you've seen me do this with this little tool before. And the beauty of using the swept back wings on it is I can come down the side, make a dovetail, and create a flat surface at the bottom for my jaws to rest on. So the one little tool does everything I need. Make sure that's slightly concave. I can make this a little bit longer. And it's still a bowl gouge, just still a little 3/8 bowl gouge. And if I think it needs to be a little bit deeper, I can just take a little bit more off, and I can come in the other way using the same wings. Very, very, very versatile. Okay. Now I want to bring this guy up pretty good. That outside edge is still bouncy. We're just cleaning that up. Okay. That brake, oh, I forgot about the hole. The fact there's a hole in there. No wonder things are bouncing around a little bit, right? We got a hole. But that's neither here nor there. Let's go ahead, before we even turn this around, let's flatten this edge out right here. Let's just go ahead and grab a tool. It just sounds real thin. There's also a split up there. Okay. Comes to an immediate stop with the brake being on. So we are theoretically ready to turn this guy around now. And I always throw the handle where I can't see it. So here's where part of the beauty comes. You still have to take the screws out. But now the jaws that we need for the tendon we just made are identical. Okay? So when you make everything match, it really works well. I'm going to go ahead and open that up a little bit. Take out the screws. It's even time for me to update my SPAC screws. Again, don't use them forever. You'll end up one day, like in a live demonstration out on the road, and have one strip out, and there you are, looking silly, to say the least. So the ring works great. I mean, the principle is still the same as your faceplate, except that now we don't have to change anything here. We don't have to go find our chuck. It's already in place. Pardon my reach across there with the tool. So now we pop our teeny tendon into our teeny jaws. It's actually, I made it a little big. You can't quite see. Get back. But it makes it super efficient for getting your piece into, and I'm going to move that other camera over now. Super efficient for your production. Hang on, let's go fix that camera. And I will fix it while you can't see it. So we'll put it more in the frame. That's the overhead camera I'm adjusting. So you'll be able to see that. Okay, good. And while we're here, let's go ahead and move in on this guy just a little bit. Since we're going to have fun with it. We're just going to turn basic bowl. Basic bowl has got a big giant knot hole in it, a big giant knot in it. Okay. There's a turner I'm trying to remember his name so I can tell you a story, and it'll come to me probably as soon as I finish. Okay, let's see here. Where are we at? You're looking at the end. I'm here all set up, ready to roll. Gonna get a breath of fresh air, all that good stuff. Again, this piece, if I put you in the end, you can see, but in the overhead, see that big hole right there? Well, that's the same as the knot. On the front side, I'm gonna reverse this. So that's that same knot. So we're gonna end up going through that and have a hole in our bowl. All right. And I'll stay with the bigger gouge for the moment. Again, I haven't sharpened. It seems to be cutting just fine for what I'm doing. It hasn't been sharpened since the last time I sharpened it, which was quite a while ago. Okay, it runs a little out of true, but not too bad. We can clean that up later. The interesting part is going to be getting down to the knot. which would be right there. Whichever way you want to go. And so that knot makes the tool really want to jump around. And because of that knot, I do have it dialed up. I'm at 1450 basically to jump past that, what this knot hole is. You can see the daylight starting to show up from the other side. The knot makes the tool want to bounce. The wood is the same density. It comes by, hits the knot. It's different. The tool bounces up, then it comes back down. So it makes working with this kind of wood a little more challenging. A lot of people don't like to mess with it. I think it's great fun. And it's great. It's good for your tool skills and tool control. Alright, so our knot hole is starting to show up. I'm going to switch to a smaller tool, what they would refer to as their 1/2 inch, which I call 3/8. A little bit smaller profile. Hope it's sharp. Because I'm running out of room here. I'm running out of room between me and the tailstock. And as I'm slowing down the cuts, slowing down the movement of the cut, the travel of the tool, I need a little bit lighter control. Remember, there's a hole about the size of my thumb in here now. And all I'm doing is I'm going back up to, like say this tool mark here, you can't quite see, but you can see it on this side. You see that tool mark right there? I'm going to go back up to that and see if I can't pick up the cut and clean this up. So between the split in the rim and the hole in it, it's starting to want to vibrate. And I've got it fairly thin. We may end up making a donut before we're done here today. That sounds really thin down in there, but it's not super thin. It's just mostly, I think, we're here in this hole. Okay, it's not super thin, but what I like to do sometimes when I get to this stage is switch to a miniature version of what now is considered called a bottom feeder. It's just got a real short bevel on it, and it allows me to get down in here where this tight radius is, because I've made a pretty tight radius for this turn right in here. And the bigger tools I'm having a little trouble controlling it. So what we'll do is we'll run this tool rest just right up against the piece to where it's just barely hanging over, maybe a 1/2 inch, because this is a pretty small tool. Let's see if we can get this tool mark out of here without blowing the piece up because of that hole. Again, I'm looking over here. I can still see where that mark is. So I picked up the cut above it, come back, grab that. And right there, the tool was literally 90 degrees to the piece, making that cut right across the bottom. Oh, be careful of that hole. My tool rest is a touch too low, But it made a beautiful cut right across there, and it was literally 90 degrees, and that's just because of the real short 45-degree bevel that it's got on it. And these little scrap pieces, you know, projects are fun to play around with your tool control and all that stuff. So we still got a spot in the middle, but let's look at our hole here. So now we've got our piece with our hole, which is a cut miss scenario. You'll notice that the worst tool marks I have are right here at the hole as I come down to the hole. They did get better when I went straight 90 degrees with the smaller tool. It's got a fairly steep side. The rim is actually thicker. I was thinking about putting a bead on it. It gets pretty thin down in here, so that's why we're starting to get some flex. There's actually a lot of flex in it. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. So that's how much the piece is flexing between its thinness and the hole that it has in it. So that's why it's starting to sing, make some noise. Okay, but let's try and clean this up one more time with what we've got left. And again, it's dry, so we don't have the latitude of working with a nice flexible that won't break green piece of wood. She's sounding fairly explosive. Okay, so let's take our biggest beading tool just for fun, because we're here today and we're having fun trying to make the best of a day that has been less than stellar. And I will take the largest beading tool, which is the 3/8. So this is the Easy Wood Tools 3/8 Easy Beater Cutter, all right? And we're going to bead this top rim right here. We are going to turn the speed down to 0750 to do that. Now the outside got a little out around. The outside got a little out around when we turned it around, but we're not going to worry about that for right now. And you can see, you can't quite see that in the camera, can you? Never fails. So let's do this. Most people rotate things outboard. I'm going to rotate it inboard. That's what you love about the swivel feature on the head of the Nova Nebula. Because I can still do what I need to do here. And I've got the head swiveled in to be good for the camera. That's better. You can't see it at all in the overhead though. Let me go fix that overhead real quick. We're not in a hurry here, as long as I can beat Atlanta traffic today. Let me change that overhead around real quick. There we go, that's better. Oops. You'll be able to see the beading tool come in there. All right. All three of you are pretty quiet out there today. Not a whole lot from the gallery. All right, let's go in here. And have the piece fly off the side. Oh, I gotta change something. I left it on. Hang on just a sec. I know you can see me fine. I can't see me. So did you hear that nice little crackling sound as it flew off of there, as it flew apart? I knew we were pushing it, so to say. Here it is. And the point that I want to make, so I had the face mask on. I was over here, right? Now, granted, it's spinning, it's cocked a little bit, but the piece still went actually beyond it to the other side. So out of the way, turning 750 RPM, and yeah, found the crack, that's right. Now this would be a good exercise in the cross section, looking at the cross section of a bowl, since it's broken. And let me pop you into overhead. So there is the bottom of the bowl thickness, right? You can see right here, this is where this piece is not great. It's actually thinner right here than it is that going that direction or that direction, which means this is going to flex. It's flexing down here more even at the tendon, but this is going to make it vibrate, flex and vibrate right in here. So it never hurts if you have a piece that you decide to cut up. Take a look at your cross section. Now I had it big up here on the end. Let me get here where you can see it. I had it big up on the end because I knew that I was going to take this beading tool and put a profile on it. Okay? So I had left extra up here intentionally. Then my plan was to come back and clean up whatever was outside of the bead. That was how that plan was going to work. Plans don't always work like you want them to. No, I'm not going to glue that together. It's not that cool a hole. But that is the basic premise of why we use the rings, because it's faster. If you don't change chucks, if you have a set screw in your chuck jaw, I'm looking for through the chips here. I threw all the chips on the table somehow. If you don't want to change chucks or deal with a faceplate, etc., using these rings, which pop right onto your jaws, fantastic. They work great. Make sure you've got decent screws. A number 10 screw instead of a number 8. Absolutely not a drywall screw. And I can't recommend the screws that come with the Easy Wood system. They're just like, it looks like a little cabinet screw. I'm going to send them a note. Since this is the first time I've used it, they need to step that up. I did not look in the Nova box if it even has screws. It should have screws, but I don't know where I put the Nova box. I'm looking for it quick. If I don't see it, I won't worry about it. To see what kind of screws they had with theirs. It sure traveled a long way in a short time. No, there were no screws in it. So you're on your own for screws with Nova. But they are all heavy duty. Look like they work well. Jeff Peters, you made it. I'm leaving, dude. I'm done. I done broke the bowl, and I'm going to the mountains. But it's good to see you, Jeff. I was talking about you earlier. Go back and catch the early part of this on the rewind. I was telling people what a slacker you were, and how much you just got in the way at AAW and all that stuff. And no, I'm teasing you. I appreciate your help. So now I broke the bowl, and so we're going to wrap that up. Those rings are pretty cool, and again, you can have a whole set of them, and the different manufacturers seem to have different diameters. So take a look at both the Easywood tools and the Nova, and depending on what your chuck system is that you're running, choose accordingly. If you have questions, we do have a new flyer from Easywood that's got the dimensions on it. It's a little more information than we had before. We can send you the PDF on that if you just shoot us a note on the website and all that good thing. What time is it? It is 2:13. So a little bit short today, but I did want to talk about the rings, and I want to come out and say hello. I'm glad I'm back. I'm around more or less all summer until SWAT time comes, and then it'll pretty much be a month that I won't be out here. I will have to fly back and do a few things. So maybe, who knows, I'll jet out there, jump in here. You never can tell. But for the next several months, I'm right here every Thursday working on some new things that actually take a little thought, and I think you'll like. So now that I have time to slow down a little bit and do that, I'm looking forward to it. And let's see, it's kind of funny. So I'm watching Jeff's comments move faster over in YouTube than they are over on my monitor, my other monitor. Oh, you can't wait till I demo the ring tool? Well, I thought about it, Jeff, but I've only got 2 in stock. I need to buy some more, because if I take 1 out of stock, then I've only got 1. So I need to bring some more in. I should have got them while we were up there. Should have grabbed more. But yeah, I want to play with that ring tool. It's a way of hollowing end grain cleanly from Sorby Tools. And also, I haven't mentioned this as I'm winding out of here, that I do have, Spiracraft has about 25 new tools from Sorby, plus the other tools that we had been carrying in the past. Currently, all the Sorby product is off or hidden on the website. I'm going to redo all the imagery here in the next week or 2 and get all the Sorby stuff back up and then have a sale. And great thing with Sorby now is that we can get a product in 30 days. Guaranteed. So even if something is out of stock, it's not going to be more than a month, and we can get it in. So, okay, yeah, well, I'll have a great trip to NC. I hope it doesn't rain the whole time. Like I say, going to go to North Georgia, then take my folks up there, and we're going to tourist around. If you follow me on Facebook, you'll see the pictures on my personal page for family time and all that good stuff. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you picked up a couple of tips on the rings. I know it wasn't elaborate. I showed you how to break a bowl. It's always something fun out here. So I appreciate it. I think I will try and hit the music the first time and see if I get it right today. And I did. And so now I just have to make it program. And I'll say, thank you. I will see y'all next week. Have a great weekend. Be safe.